Mexicans really know how to love life, you know. The guys working in the car park are having a Friday afternoon barbecue. Nos vemos, amigos, gracias. Chef Guevara there, although this place is a bit too hipsteroso, as one might say in Mexico for me. Anyway, this is Paul, an English guy, showing you Mexico through my eyes, and today I'm going to talk about things I once feared in Mexico, but I don't now. And Mexico is painted as a country to fear. You see it in the news, all over the place actually, and foreigners who book trips to Mexico or come to live here always have more fears about coming to this great land than they do for many other countries, to a point where I feel it's exaggerated. So today I'm going to share with you some fears I had in my early days in Mexico, which have now, after all this time here, gone. And the first thing I want to talk about today is one which is really common for foreigners coming to Mexico: crime and safety. Now, fear of crime is never completely gone here in Mexico, but I also fear crime walking the streets in countries like the UK and the US. Nasty stuff happens in those countries, such as terrorist attacks. Other kinds of nasty stuff happens in Mexico, almost always related to organized crime. But still, the foreigner's mind, before they come to Mexico, is trained through the media and whatever else to have an exaggerated fear for Mexico. I was exactly the same before I came here, but that didn't stop me from coming. And a quick story: my first day ever in Mexico City was September 15th, the Mexican Independence Day celebrations. September 16th is the actual Independence Day, but the evening before is when Mexicans are eating, drinking, dancing salsa. More about salsa later in the video, by the way, and partying. Well, anyway, that was my first night in Mexico City. Absolutely amazing, but at the same time, scary. Why? All the police with huge guns, then the Marines around looking even more pumped up. And you might be thinking, Tio, Paul, don't be such a little pussy cat. But listen, in those days I was not used to this huge display of force from the security services. But then things changed, because I got to know the friendly and relaxed way Mexicans generally, including the police, go about their business. Yes, you do see dodgy stuff in the news, but in all my experience with them, the majority operate with loads of common sense, friendliness. They aren't naturally overly aggressive just for no reason, like some police forces in the world, that's for sure. And these days, I can even take photos with them and have a laugh. This guy was like, "Oh, you're from England? Mr. Bean, love it." Check this out, lana. Mexicans also use that word for money, but it's wool. And wool products are really popular in Mexico. Lots of Mexicans have a good pair of woolly slippers. And I like this guy because he really believes in his product. That bucket he's sitting on, that's no ordinary bucket. It's a luxurious street seat. Adios, amigo. And the next fear I had was a total curveball: salsa dancing. And I remember those first months here, being invited to wedding parties, all kinds of parties taking place at event halls. So many event halls in Mexico, by the way, because, well, Mexico is a party nation. Anyway, I feared the salsa dancing so much, but I always went to these parties, even if I didn't know the people that well. I just couldn't resist. Why? Well, there was always a voice inside me saying something involving food. Paul, listen, they brought in carnitas especially from Michoacan. So yeah, I was totally seduced by Mexican food, and I've been to countless parties here. And I'm going to tell you the most fearful moment for me at one of these Mexican parties at an event hall. Well, it's the point in the night when there's just a few people on the dance floor dancing to music like pop and rock. But then every time something happens, the DJ or the band starts playing the first salsa song of the night, and that is the exact moment I once absolutely dreaded. I felt nervous and embarrassed, as if my pants had just been pulled down, and I didn't have what most women in Mexico want in a man, which is great salsa dancing, of course. And I couldn't do what most Mexican men were doing, grabbing their partner's hand and taking them to the dance floor. And honestly, I felt like a f***ing loser. Anyway, these days I still way prefer banda dancing. I don't know why, but I've always been okay with that. And salsa dancing I am now okay with too. Low level skills, but I don't fear it anymore. That colourful wall is interesting, but this is more interesting. Mexicans really know how to love life, you know. The guys working in the car park are having a Friday afternoon barbecue, which is something they do every Friday. And I know that because they gave me a delicious taco de arrachera with lots of guacamole. This is true Mexico, everyone. Loving life and inviting strangers to eat. Nos vemos, amigos. Gracias. And the next thing that I used to fear in Mexico, but I don't anymore, is getting a taxi. And for this part, I'm only talking about Mexico City, as that's where most of my experience is. And let me explain. When I first arrived here, there was no taxi apps like Uber. You had 3 taxi options. First, call a taxi company you already know. Second, come to one of these official taxi sites, like the one behind me here. And third, just hail a taxi down from the street from wherever. Options 1 and 2, a bit more expensive, but the same level of safety more or less as in anywhere in the world. The problem, not very convenient or practical, especially after a late night out. Option 3, whatever taxi from the street, the quickest, cheapest, easiest option to take. But the problem, the risk of being robbed, assaulted or worse. Now, 99.999% of these taxi drivers are hard-working, kind people. I never once had a problem. However, especially late at night, I didn't make a habit of using them because of that fear. Now back to Uber and the other apps like Cabify. Many people here will tell you that these apps have removed a lot of the fears in the back of your mind when moving around Mexico City. And it's one reason why they are so popular. Now, it's not perfect, like in all countries where apps like Uber operate. You hear horror stories, but believe me, these days it's a lot better. Check this out. Remember my last video where I told you about the special industry event I was part of? Well, I'm so excited because this is just what I need for a special casting I've got coming up. Look, good lighting, perfect. Hey, I hope you all know I'm kidding, right? That room to rent actually looks a bit dodgy, doesn't it? By the way, changing subject, a big thanks to everyone who has been translating my videos. If you want to subtitle this video or any of my videos so more people can enjoy them, I've put a link in the description box of this video. That's the sun setting behind Chapultepec Castle over there. Beautiful. So they were some of the fears I had in my early days in Mexico, which I don't know, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a like and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time here, why not click on another one of my videos there and subscribe. A massive thank you to all my Patreons on Patreon. I've had a lot of new Patrons join me in the last few weeks. Really motivating because I've been busy making lots of True Mexico content for all of you to enjoy. Thank you. You can also support my work donating via Patreon or PayPal. The links are below. Anyway, I'm Paul. This is True Mexico. Hasta luego.